There are those who walk a different path, not because they chose it, but because it was given to them. From an early age, they see the world in a way that others do not. They notice things that others overlook. They feel what others dismiss, and because of that, they find themselves standing apart, watching, waiting, learning. They speak, but their words are often met with silence. They reach out, but the world pulls away, not because they are unworthy, but because they are different. And difference has always been something the world fears. To be chosen is to be set apart, not for privilege, not for comfort, but for purpose. There is something inside these individuals, something rare, something powerful, that makes them unable to blend in, unable to be ordinary. And yet, this difference does not come without a cost. There is a weight that comes with seeing too much, knowing too much, feeling too much. It is the weight of isolation, the weight of standing in a crowd and still feeling alone. Many would think that loneliness is a weakness, a flaw, something to be fixed, but it is not. It is a sign of depth, a sign of a mind that moves differently, a heart that beats to a rhythm the world cannot hear. It is not weakness, it is a mark of perception. Because those who are truly awake in this world, those who see through the illusions, cannot simply go along with the rest. They cannot pretend. They cannot be what they are not. And so they find themselves drifting further and further away from the noise, the distractions, the games that others play. The mind that questions, the heart that refuses to settle, the soul that aches for meaning. These are not burdens, they are gifts, but gifts that are misunderstood. The world does not know what to do with those who refuse to be ordinary. It pushes them to the edges, labels them as strange, difficult, too much, too intense. It tries to make them feel as if they are broken. And so, they begin to believe it. They start to wonder if something is wrong with them. If maybe, just maybe, they were never meant to belong. But the truth is, they were never meant to fit in. They were meant to stand out. They were meant to see what others do not, to ask the questions that others are afraid to ask, to feel the depths that others will never reach. And because of that, they walk alone. Not because they are unworthy of companionship, but because their path is not for the ordinary. The lonely ones, the outcasts, the misunderstood, they are the ones who shape the world. They are the thinkers, the dreamers, the creators, the leaders. They are the ones who have suffered, who have been torn apart, but who have also rebuilt themselves from the ground up. They do not crumble under the weight of their solitude. They do not shrink to fit into a world that does not understand them. Instead, they rise. There will be moments when the silence is unbearable, when the loneliness feels like a prison, when the thought of being unseen, unheard, unknown feels too much to carry. But that silence, that space, is not empty. It is a gift. It is where transformation happens. It is where wisdom is born. It is where strength is built. Those who are truly meant for more must first learn to walk alone. They must learn to be comfortable in their own company, to trust their own thoughts, to rely on their own strength. Because the ones who are set apart are not meant to be led, they are meant to lead. They are not meant to follow the footsteps of others, they are meant to carve a new path. And so, to those who feel like they do not belong, to those who wonder if their loneliness is proof that they are broken, it is not. It is proof that you are different. And different is exactly what this world needs. The very thing that sets you apart, the very thing that makes you feel isolated, is the very thing that makes you powerful. You were never meant to be like the rest. You were never meant to stay in the shadows. to lower your voice, to pretend you are someone you are not. You were meant to see beyond the surface, to feel deeper, to question more, and that will always set you apart. The loneliness is not a curse. It is not something to be ashamed of. It is a sign that you are walking the path you were meant to walk, a sign that you are not like the others, a sign that you are chosen. And one day, the loneliness that once felt unbearable will become the very thing that made you unbreakable. The isolation that once made you question yourself will become the source of your greatest strength. And the world that once misunderstood you will look up and finally see what you were always meant to be. There comes a moment in life when everything falls apart, when the things you held on to slip through your fingers and the world you thought was certain turns to dust. It happens quietly at first, like cracks forming in the foundation of a house, barely noticeable, and then all at once it collapses. The ground beneath you vanishes, and you are left standing in the ruins of what once was, questioning everything. This is the moment where many believe they are finished, that life has taken too much, that they have lost too much, that they will never be whole again. But what they fail to see is that destruction is not the end, it is the beginning. The ones who have never been broken will never understand. They will speak of strength as though it is something inherited, something given freely. But true strength is not given, it is forged. It is beaten into shape by the weight of suffering. It is carved out of the soul through fire, through pain, through loss. Strength is not found in those who have never fallen. It is found in those who have hit the ground so hard they shattered, and yet somehow still found a way to rise. To be broken is to be transformed. It is to be stripped of everything that was never truly yours, to have the illusions ripped away, to stand face to face with who you really are when there is nothing left to hide behind. It is brutal, it is painful, and yet it is necessary. Because the truth is, you cannot become what you are meant to be until you have been undone. The world does not shape the strongest souls through comfort. It shapes them through struggle. It breaks them apart so they can rebuild themselves into something greater than before. Most people fear brokenness. They believe it means they have failed, that something inside them is beyond repair. But what they do not realize is that brokenness is not the end of the story. It is simply the moment where the real story begins. Look at the ones who have truly lived, those who have wisdom beyond their years, strength beyond explanation. You will find that every single one of them has suffered, not just small struggles, not just temporary setbacks, but deep, soul-wrenching pain. They have lost, they have fallen, they have faced nights so dark they thought they would never see light again, and yet they endured. And because they endured, they became something unbreakable. There is a reason why the ones who have suffered the most often have the deepest wisdom, the greatest compassion, the most unwavering strength. It is because they have walked through fire and come out the other side. They have faced their worst fears, battled their darkest moments, and survived. And in surviving, they learn something that those who have never been broken will never understand. That pain is not the enemy. Pain is the teacher. Pain is the sculptor that carves away everything that is weak, everything that is false, everything that is temporary, leaving only what is real, what is strong, what will last. You do not become strong by avoiding hardship. You do not become wise by living in comfort. The greatest souls this world has ever known, those who have changed history, those who have left their mark, were not born that way. They were made, and they were made through suffering. They were made through the moments when everything was against them, when they had every reason to give up, but they refused. They kept moving forward when there was no reason to. They kept fighting when the battle seemed lost, and in doing so they became something different. They became untouchable. Because when you have already lost everything, when you have already faced your greatest fears, what is left to be afraid of? So, when life breaks you, when it takes everything from you, when you feel as though you cannot go on, understand this: you are not being destroyed. You are being transformed. You are being stripped of everything that is holding you back. You are being prepared for something greater than you can yet see. The world does not test those who are meant for nothing. It tests those who are meant for more. The pain will not last forever. The darkness will not consume you. But who you become because of it, that will last. That will stay with you long after the wounds have healed, long after the storm has passed. And one day you will look back at the moments that nearly broke you, the nights that seemed endless, the pain that felt unbearable, and you will realize that those were the moments that made you. Strength is not found in the absence of suffering. It is found in those who have suffered, who have been shattered, and yet who chose to rise anyway. And that choice, that refusal to stay broken, is what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. The ones who understand this truth are the ones who will endure. They are the ones who will walk through fire, through storms, through devastation, and still come out standing. So let the world break you. Let it tear you apart. Because what is real, what is strong, what is unshakable, that will remain. And in the end, you will not be the same. You will be something more. Something unbreakable. There are those who walk through life carrying something that cannot be explained, something that sets them apart from the rest. It is not a choice, not something they asked for, but something that was woven into them before they even knew what they were. A fire, a vision, a depth that others do not possess. They see beyond the surface, beyond the illusions, beyond the ordinary. And because of this, the world does not understand them. People fear what they cannot understand. They reject what does not fit neatly into their expectations. And so, those who carry a unique purpose often find themselves standing alone, misunderstood, questioned, even ridiculed. Not because they are wrong, but because they are different. The world has always done this to those who do not follow the script, to those who refuse to fit into the mold. It has happened to the thinkers, the visionaries, the ones who dare to walk a different path. They are called strange, rebellious, difficult, but history remembers them. It does not remember the ones who stayed silent. It does not remember the ones who blended in. It remembers the ones who stood firm, the ones who refused to shrink, the ones who carried their purpose even when the world tried to break them. And the world will try to break them. It always does. The ones who carry something rare are tested in ways that others will never know. They face storms that were never meant for the ordinary. They are challenged, pushed, torn apart, not because they are weak, but because they are being shaped. The world will strip away everything unnecessary, everything temporary, until only what is real remains. And that process leaves scars. Scars are the evidence of what has been survived. They are the proof that no matter what came, no matter what was lost, the person still stands. People look at scars as flaws, as imperfections. They try to hide them, to erase them, to pretend they were never there. But scars are not signs of weakness. They are not marks of failure. They are a testament to resilience, to endurance, to the battles fought and won. A life without scars is a life without struggle. And a life without struggle is a life without growth. Look at the strongest people in the world, the ones who carry wisdom in their eyes, the ones whose presence commands a room. They did not get there by avoiding pain. They did not get there by living an easy life. They got there because they walked through fire and refused to be burned. Because they faced defeat and refused to surrender. They got there because they endured. There will be times when the weight of this journey feels unbearable, when the loneliness cuts deep, when the battle seems endless, when you question why you must walk this path while others seem to live with ease. But the truth is, those who carry a unique purpose cannot live an ordinary life. They were never meant to. The struggles they face, the scars they bear, these are not signs that they are failing. They are signs that they are on the right path. Because the world does not fight against those who do not matter. It fights against those who can change it, and those who can change it are always the ones who have endured. The ones who have stood in the storm and refused to bow. The ones who have been broken and rebuilt themselves from the ground up. So let the world misunderstand, let them question, let them doubt. It does not matter. What matters is that you keep going. That you take every scar, every wound, every hardship, and wear it as proof that nothing could break you. Because in the end, the ones who carry purpose, the ones who walk the hardest roads, they are the ones who leave a mark that can never be erased. There is a kind of person who walks a different path, not by choice, not because they desire isolation, but because something within them does not allow them to move with the crowd. They see things others do not. They think in ways others cannot understand, and so they walk alone. This world is built on patterns, on predictability, on people who follow the road already paved. It is easier that way, safer. The rules are clear, the expectations simple. But there are some who do not fit into that design. They cannot force themselves to live inside the lines drawn for them. They feel something deeper, something more. They ask the questions no one else will ask. They challenge what others simply accept, and for that they are set apart. History does not remember those who walked with the crowd. It does not celebrate those who followed without question. The names that endure, the ones spoken long after they are gone, belong to those who stood alone. The thinkers, the rebels, the ones who saw the world not as it was, but as it could be, and for that they were mocked, they were doubted, they were cast out. But they endured, and because they endured, they changed everything. To be different is to be misunderstood. To walk a road that others will not is to be questioned, doubted, and at times even hated. But that is the price of seeing what others cannot. The ordinary mind does not welcome disruption. It does not welcome those who refuse to be tamed. And so those who challenge, those who push forward into the unknown, will always face resistance. There will be moments when the weight of solitude feels unbearable, when the silence is deafening, when the lack of understanding cuts deeper than any wound, when you wonder if you are truly alone, if perhaps they were right, if perhaps you should have chosen the easier road. But you must understand, this is not a punishment, it is a sign that you are on the right path, a sign that you are meant for more. Greatness has never belonged to the ones who were accepted. It has always belonged to the ones who were cast aside, to the ones who were laughed at, dismissed, ignored, until the day the world realized it could no longer function without them. People fear what they do not understand, and they will fear you. They will try to fit you into their expectations to make you more like them. And when you refuse, they will tell you that you are wrong, that you are lost, that you should turn back and follow the road everyone else walks. But you were never meant to be like them. You were never meant to fit into their world. You were meant to create your own. The greatest minds, the greatest leaders, the ones who have left behind legacies that time cannot erase, they did not belong. They were questioned, they were ridiculed, they were told they would fail, and yet they continued. And because they continued, they carved a path where none had existed before. So if you find yourself alone, if you find yourself misunderstood, if you find yourself walking a road that no one else can see, do not fear. It means you are exactly where you are meant to be. It means you are not ordinary. It means you are meant to change the world. Pain has a way of making itself known. It does not whisper. It does not ask for permission. It arrives uninvited, shattering the world as it was, leaving behind something unrecognizable. It does not care for timing, for comfort, for fairness. It comes like fire, consuming everything, and for a while, it seems as though there is nothing left but ruin. Most people fear pain. They run from it, numb themselves against it, do everything in their power to avoid it. But those who are meant for more do not have that luxury. They are not given an easy road, not handed a life of comfort. No, they are tested, pushed, broken down, stripped of all that is unnecessary, all that is weak, because they are being prepared for something greater than they can yet see. There is a reason why those who carry a higher calling often walk through the deepest suffering. It is not because they are cursed, not because they are forgotten, but because they are being refined, molded, strengthened in ways the ordinary will never understand. A blade is not made sharp without the grind of the stone. Gold is not purified without fire, and a soul that is meant to carry great things cannot remain untested. It is through pain that purpose is revealed. It is through suffering that the weak parts of the soul are burned away, leaving only what is real, what is strong, what cannot be broken. Those who have never suffered, who have never walked through darkness, who have never lost everything, will never understand what it means to be truly strong. True strength is not found in avoiding hardship. It is found in enduring it, in walking through the storm and emerging, not unscathed, but unshaken. There will be moments when it all feels too much, when the weight of it threatens to crush you, when you wonder if there is a breaking point beyond which you will not return, when the loneliness is unbearable, when the silence is deafening, when you look around and realize no one else sees what you see, no one else feels what you feel, and you begin to question if you were ever meant to walk this road at all. But what you do not yet see, what cannot yet be understood, is that the ones who are tested this way, the ones who walk through fire, they are never truly alone. They are being watched, guided, shaped by unseen hands. Every loss, every wound, every scar is not evidence of failure, but proof of transformation. Proof that you are being made into something greater than before. And in time, the pain that once seemed unbearable will become something else. A teacher, a sculptor, a force that stripped away everything false, everything temporary, until only what is real remained. The lonely ones, the broken ones, the ones who thought they would not survive. One day, they will look back and see that they were never forsaken. They were being prepared, because those who are meant to carry great things cannot remain as they were. They must be remade, and pain is the tool that does the shaping. One day you will understand. One day you will see that the road you walked, as difficult as it was the only road that could have led you to where you were meant to be. And when that day comes, you will no longer curse the pain. You will no longer mourn what was lost. You will stand in the place you were always meant to stand, and you will understand. You were never broken. You were becoming.